3 savings accounts, 1 compression machine. Central banks just bet against all 3. A wheat farmer in Kansas, a freelancer in Lagos, a pensioner in Berlin. Different lives, same currency math. For the next 10 minutes, we will do something the algorithm punishes. Walk both sides. The case, the world is changing. The case, it isn't. And the 4 things that would prove one of them wrong. Because here's the inconvenient part, most videos skip. The Federal Reserve itself published a paper last summer that quietly disagrees with most of what comes next. We come back to it at the 7-minute mark. Hold on to it. Start with what's measurable. In 2022, the world's central banks bought 1,082 tons of gold, the highest single-year total since 1950. 2024, 1,045 tons. 2025, 863. 3 consecutive years above 1,000 tons in a 5-decade window where the average was 473. And in the World Gold Council's 2025 survey, 43% of central banks said they plan to add more, up from 29% the year before. But here's what's wild. The Fed's own staff economist, Colin Weiss, called this, quote, modest diversification, not coordinated dedollarization. Modest. Same data, 2 readings, hold that gap. July 18, 2025, Senate 68-30. House 308 to 122. The Genius Act becomes law. Every payment stablecoin on US soil now requires 100% reserve backing in cash or short treasuries. 1 month later, August 19, Wyoming launches FRNT, the first stablecoin issued by a US state, backed at 102% by dollars and short-term treasuries. Live on 7 blockchains. Meanwhile, in Basel, 7 of the world's most powerful central banks, plus 41 banks, are quietly building Project Agorá, a single tokenized ledger where every wholesale settlement runs through programmable rails. The era when a payment was just a payment is closing. Programmability is not a side feature. It's the architecture. 2 billion people just made a quieter choice. In Pakistan, Argentina, Nigeria, Lebanon, where local currencies bleed 20, 40, 90% a year, ordinary phone wallets now hold USDT. Not a dollar account. A dollar that the local central bank cannot freeze. Genuinely democratizing and quietly destabilizing for any government that ever needed capital controls. And if this were really a regime change, not just a chart pattern, we'd see 4 specific things break. The 4 tests come back at minute 8, April 19th, 2026, Wall Street Journal scoop. The UAE Central Bank Governor, Khaled Mohammed Balama, walked into Treasury and the Federal Reserve and raised the idea of a currency swap line. The implied alternative he flagged in the same meeting, oil settled in yuan. If dollar liquidity tightens during the Hormuz crisis, that was the warning. Not a leak, not a tweet. A central bank governor in a closed room naming the option. And while sovereigns argue 2 private companies most viewers have never used became the 17th and roughly 30th largest holders of US Treasury debt on Earth. Tether, $135 billion. Circle, about $26 billion in T-bills, 40 more in overnight Treasury repo. The new rails don't ask permission, they earn the yield. And now, the part nobody on YouTube wants to make. The Federal Reserve's 2025 update on the dollar's international role runs the statistical tests. The dollar's reserve share fell from 72% in 2001 to 58% in 2024. Real, gradual, decades long. But the formal tests for acceleration don't fire. Basically unchanged since 2022. Brad Setzer, ex-Treasury, now Council on Foreign Relations. Take gold's price revaluation out of the chart, and the dollar decline story shrinks to roughly nothing visible. Even 100% of Middle Eastern oil priced in yuan, the maximalist case, moves total dollar transactions by 3 to 4%. And then there's Lacey Hunt at Hoisington, 40 years of bond research, the contrarian of contrarians. Hunt argues each additional dollar of deficit spending reduces private GDP by $1.01. Same fiscal facts. Opposite conclusion, not inflation. Deflation. Debt saturation suffocates demand faster than money printing inflates prices. Most people stop here. The next part is what makes it click. If the regime change thesis is right, 4 things should happen in the next 24 to 60 months. Each one is a test. Each one can fail. Test 1. The dollar index. If DXY breaks above 120 and stays above it for 12 months while gold tops 5,500, the dollar milkshake camp wins. Strong dollar and strong gold means offshore dollar debt is forcing buying, not the system breaking. Test 2. The IMF reserve data. If COFR's dollar share stops falling and parks at 56% for 5 more years, this isn't regime change. It's gradual dilution. Test 3. Inflation, not deflation. If CPI prints below 2.5% for 8 straight quarters, while net interest expense stays above $1 trillion a year, Hunt's deflation thesis is vindicated. The fiscal dominance reflex doesn't fire. Test 4. The stablecoin float. If Genius Act compliant stablecoins cross $2 trillion in supply by 2028 and they're absorbing T-bill issuance the Treasury can't otherwise place, then the regime change isn't dollar collapse. It's dollar absorption. The new rails saved the old debt. Back to the Federal Reserve paper from minute 1. Its argument is gradual. Its data is honest. But no acceleration since 2022 was published before April 2026, before the UAE walked in, before central bank gold buying made it the 3rd year above 1,000 tons. The next edition writes itself: wheat farmer in Kansas, freelancer in Lagos, pensioner in Berlin. 3 savings accounts. 1 compression machine. The honest answer, the machine is real. Whether it grinds for 15 years or pauses for 15 depends on which of the 4 tests breaks first. That's why we're going to track them one by one every quarter. Next video, we'll watch the first test live, where DXY and gold sit when the WGC drops Q2 data. Until then, the math is the math. What we do with it is still ours.